Hello together. Thank you for joining us. We want to talk today about spirited competition, especially about spirit selection by Concours Mondial de Bruxelles. And we would figure out why it's interesting to join a spirit competition, and we will have a view from different points to that. So we will talk today with Ulrich Nies. He is the competition director, and he will tell us a little bit about the competitions from the view as the organization. Also, we talk with Solveig Gerz.
Hello.
And she will have look from the side of distributor and trademark builder. And we will talk with Simon Weiss. He is marketing expert, and he supports distilleries and importers with building up the brand marks and marketing effects in social media. Hello. And last but not least, we will talk with Andreas Kress. He is from St. Kilian Whiskey Distillery. This is the biggest distillery for whiskey in Germany, actually. And he will tell us a little bit about, from the view as producer, where is the benefit to join a competition. At first, I want to talk with Ulrich. Ulrich, before we start our panel discussion, please tell us more about spirit selection, what it is, and what is behind the idea.
So we are the one and only itinerant spirit competition in the world. We've been, we've been around. The Concours Mondial de Bruxelles has been around for 30 years, and it is a family-owned company who specializes. At first, was essentially a wine magazine. Concours Mondial de Bruxelles started as a wine competition and gathered more and more and more momentum until we got a lot more spirits wanted to take part in the competition. And then 16 years ago, we've decided to have Concours Mondial de Bruxelles for the wine and the spirit selection by Concours Mondial de Bruxelles only for spirits. Why are we itinerant? Is because our DNA is essentially we are a communication company. We like to talk about spirits, about wine. We like to promote spirits and wine. We like to put producers in the highlight. And being an itinerant competition, that is, every year we go to another place in the world, allows us for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days to jump into the distilling heritage of the host country and really put a highlight on that particular country. Now, this is actually twofold, because while we do this, and the reputation of the spirit selection has been such that it also allows us to have some of the best tasters and the best journalists and the best experts in the field to come and join us, because everybody wants to be part of the spirit selection. So meaning that, every year we taste 2,300 spirits usually in 3 days, with a panel of about, depending on the number of samples that we have, about 130 international judges that comes from around 30 different countries, making us really one of the most international spirit competition in the world. We are incredibly strict. In terms of medals, we're incredibly strict of how, we only allow 30% medals, no more. We're incredibly strict insofar as who can be our sponsors. You can look at, we're fully transparent, and we do not have any spirits sponsors, which sets us apart from several other competitions. And yeah, as I said, we are absolutely fully itinerant. So we really are the most interesting spirit competition at the moment
in the world.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds very interesting, Ulrich. How is the process to enter products as a producer?
Simple. We have to embrace technology. Everything is online, so you can find everything onto the onto website spiritselection.com. It is in English, in French, in Portuguese, in Italian, in German. In I think this is it, in the language. You enter your product, all the product information. Payment is obviously done via the website. A lot of producers are very worried and say, "Ooh, does that mean I have to send my product all the way to Chile, China, Mexico?" No. You send the bottles. We need 2 bottles per samples. These bottles are sent to our headquarters in Brussels. We do the flight in Brussels, and then we ship everything ourselves, obviously, to the host country. So we try to streamline it as much as possible for distributors, because the focus is definitely on the competition itself, not the registration process. And having been a brand that's taken part in spirits competition, I know that the registration process can be sometimes tedious, but we try to streamline everything.
Okay, but this sounds that KISS is very important for the spirit selection. Keep it simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Andreas, as a producer, what do you think about this competition, this product?
We've participated the last 2 years, and if we look at the sign-up process, just as Ulrich just said, it's very simple, it's very easy. Just a few clicks and you actually have submitted your product, and then you ship the samples. So from that point of view, it's really super easy to handle. And also the contact is very friendly, because I remember last year we shipped everything with, I think, one of the large courier services, and unfortunately on the way, 1 bottle broke. And so we had a very friendly contact also with the team, seeing how we can solve this issue, because apparently our box did not arrive with all the bottles because they broke. But everything was solved very, very quickly. So it was a very good communication, very easy communication, and we had quickly resolved the issue. So from my point of view, absolutely perfect service.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
Okay.
Geraldine is the one who looks after the shipping of the samples all across the globe in every destination. She's become quite the expert at it. And we have issues like this all the time, but we've become very good at dealing with these issues.
Yeah, it was absolutely flawless and went perfectly.
Good, excellent.
Okay. Solveig, why do you enter products to the competition?
Actually, I don't enter the products in the competition. It's my producers. And from my perspective, as we talked, when I take products in my assortment, I need to have a special, it needs to have something special to offer the product. And if I see this potential in the product, then I build the brand, and together with the producer, I give my recommendation what we could register for the Spirit Selection Award, for example. And this leads to the medal, to many medals in the past. So I'm very selective with my assortment, but I would say for other importer and distributor, as I am, it can help to find new products if you are looking to enlarge your assortment. So it can help you if the product is well known, if it's at the beginning, or if it's already a number in the market, let's say, if they got some medals. And still those producers looking international wise for a distributor, not only in Germany, worldwide. And this can help and support the selection.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about the quality of the judges. Ulrich, how can you ensure that we get always the best judges? How do you select them, and how do they get any special training? Ulrich?
Ulrich is mute.
No, Tom.
Sorry, my fault. The training is something I will talk about at a later stage. But because of the reputation of Concours Mondial de Bruxelles, we have a very large pool of what I would call legacy tasters, who are all involved in the industry. This is it. It's simple. You must be involved in the industry. You must breathe the industry. You must know. You must be a specialist in one particular aspect of the spirit industry, whether being a producer, whether being a journalist, but a really well knowledgeable journalist only on spirit, obviously. Whether you are an educator, we work quite quite a lot with WACT educators, and also educator from the CIDS in Saint-Gonzague. Or you have to be, for example, like Simon, a brand specialist, a brand marketing or distributor. So we try to, as much as possible, to have a wide pool of jury, because I mean, as an ex-musician, for example, and I'm going to take the musician example, what I would call musician jazz. There is some jazz that is so complex and so awesome that only musician can actually enjoy that particular kind of jazz. What we're trying to avoid that at the Spirit Selection by only appealing to what I would call the top 1%, the experts, because we have to remember that it's the 99% of people out there who actually drinks the product. So having perspective only from a producer doesn't actually help us very much. Having the perspective from only a producer does not actually help us either. So we really try to make sure that each jury panel is composed of a producer, a journalist, a distributor, an educator, and there's what I would call the wild card. Guys who work in the labs. We work very close with the laboratory JANSAC. So people who do the analysis. So we have a scope of perspective when we judge a particular product. We don't just have that only from a producer perspective, or from a marketer perspective, or for a distributor perspective. So this is really, really, really important for us. It makes my job quite difficult, because I have to make sure that every single jury or every single chair is composed exactly of this pool of people. But it also what gives us, something completely different, because we literally give back to the producer an entire perspective, not just coming from one side of the thing. We do expect people to know what they're talking about. We do expect people to come back to us and say, to give us some feedback that we can use. People who do not act appropriately in terms of judging and say, I don't like this. This is not obviously things that we expect. When we judge a product, it's okay. It's very, very personal. It's very, very subjective. But we need to know why you didn't like it, and if you are incapable of quantifying this, then the likelihood is that you will not be re-invited again. And that being said, as well, today, I'm also trying to set up a rotation, because I want to make sure that every year I've got about a 50% new jury. So there is a fresher blood, there is a fresher perspective that comes into the equation. Not to have the same panel every year that gives the same feedback. So yeah, you do have, as long as you know what you're talking about and you have a nose, you can use it and you can justify it. Then everybody everybody has got a chance to be judged. One of the criteria that I'm changing and I'm quite aggressive about this year is I want to make sure that we have an equal representation for female and the male perspective, and I'm certainly trying to augment our jury pool in the different countries where the different countries that are juries. Sadly, historically, there are some countries that are not very well represented into a jury side that I'm trying to change. Why? Because for you, for example, Andreas, it would be very interesting to know, my whiskey was liked, but with the new results and the new tasting feedback that we're going to be able to give you, you're going to be able to drill down and say, oh my God, my particular whiskey was particularly appreciated from people from that particular ethnicity, but for some bizarre reason, people from, let's say, Asia did not like my whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
That can be something that could be quite helpful for you, because all of a sudden you can say, maybe St. Killian's Mild I will use in Europe because it was very much like for people in Europe, but St. Killian's, but it was not like in Asia. So I'm not going to propose that SKU into the Asian market. So the whole purpose of it is to be able to give the producer not just, yeah, it was really good, here's a gold medal, but to try to give you information that you can actually use in your marketing, in your marketing strategy globally. Not an easy task.
That's absolutely helpful, because then we can also basically create the products for the countries that we want to send it in, and for us that's just very valuable.
That's it. But again, for me, what's very, very important, and I'm going to go back to this this analogy, this music and jazz, is I don't want to fall into that trap. It's important that our jury represents who our consumers are.
Yeah, that's absolutely interesting. Solveig, how is your opinion on the quality system and the training from spirit selection?
The trainings are, yes, this is a good development tool. Everywhere we are, we get introduced in the specific categories of the country. When we were in Guadeloupe, we were visiting 12 distilleries, rum distilleries, agricole distilleries, which was amazing. Even in Italy now, the region of Prosecco and Grappa, it's so rich on information what we get, and we are in the first line of the distillery. I mean, normally of course we can enter the distillery, but we don't get, usually as a guest, we don't get this detailed information as we get provided during this award when we do the visits. And it's really, really helpful, because we always have to develop ourselves and to get more knowledge. Yeah, this is, I think, the target as well as a judge, to develop your knowledge all the time, especially for Baijiu now. And we got our master class last year, because I was not really familiar, to be honest, with Baijiu. I tasted it the first time in Guadeloupe, and then last year we got the master class, and now I can tell something about that. Yeah. But the basic product is the different categories, and it's really, really important. Yeah. And very often we get asked in the field to tell something about a product, and people appreciate it. And customers. Yeah.
I think to draw back on what you said, Solveig, we cannot expect everyone to be master of everything. This cannot be. We have specialists in whiskey, we have specialists in rakia, we have specialists in Singani. We have, for example, a specialist in Singani would not be able to potentially or properly judge strong aroma baijiu or source aroma baijiu. So what we have decided over the past 3 or 4 years was to decide, one of our judges, a guy called Paul, in Taiwan decided to create what we would call the sensory guideline to make a basic manual of every single spirit category, so that in case you have any doubt and no one in your jury is able to help you out, you actually have a reference book that you can go and say, okay, Singani, okay, this is Singani. This is apparently that's a common fault in Singani. Yeah, this sample has that fault. And then if you can quantify this. So we do try to make sure that, we are giving the right tools to the taster. We do masterclass on particular, I mean, I don't like the terminology masterclass, but we do like class on particular spirit category that are unknown. So, we're looking at this year, we will have one on Serbian rakia, for example, because it's not something that a lot of people have consumed. So there is a benefit, not only as a nasal and a workout and as a tasting workout, but as building block for your knowledge in the future as well. But this is very much part of the DNA of the spirit selection.
I totally agree with you. As you mentioned, the Bible, our helpful book, is really, really, really supportive if we are not so familiar with one of the categories. Yeah, we can be not a specialist in all categories. Absolutely right.
I have an additional example here on this, what both of you mentioned, and which supports the professionality of the judging panel, of the jury panels. So in my opinion, every single judge brings in his or her strength, as you have mentioned. And last year on my table, for example, I had an expert for agave spirits, a rum ambassador, a Chinese professor for Baijiu, a fruit liquor producer, and a distributor for cognac. And we were all united in the spirits, and we learned a lot from each other. So, for example, the professor showed many insights, not the basics, but advanced insights about Baijiu, while he could learn a lot from us about limoncello. He was not aware of limoncello. And this is one of the big strengths, in my opinion, this internationality and this professional internationality.
I'm going to go a step further this year, because we are in China, and it's two very different culture. In July, I will go with people from the CEDS to actually train our Chinese jury and to give them an exam, so to speak. We will literally, for 1 week, we will have 50 of the best Chinese tasters and producers that we will train on every single spirit category in the world. So you can well imagine the work that is to gather all the samples, to make sure that when they come up to us in September as tasters, it's not going to be brand new to them. And this is a model that we're going to replicate in the next years as well. So again, as Solveig said, not everybody is able to be an expert in everything, but at least all of our juries who are going to sit down and taste our product have been exposed to Singani, to Feni, to Marwa, to all of the slightly more exotic spirits that are not so easy to find.
Ulrich, let's talk about jury panels and evaluation. How do you evaluate the spirits? Tell us more about that.
Okay, so evaluation is pretty, is pretty basic. Sight, smell, palate, finish. This is a standard. This is standard across all the competition that I've judged in, and it's certainly a standard for us. We have nowadays everything is digitalized. We have to, move along with the flow. Every judge has got its own tablet. All the scores are inputted on a tablet to be then, consolidated electronically, so we can give the result as quickly as possible. We do expect a certain amount of tasting feedback. One thing is certain, as I said, people will say, "I don't like it." It's not something that we can utilize. I don't like it because I feel that, because it's something that we can certainly use. We have the ability, and we've done a trial with Andreas, especially our new back office engine has got the ability to create some absolutely outstanding, and I mean outstanding reports, where we will be able to provide complete tasting wheels right away, with tasting feedbacks right away. Again, these are tools for the producer. We are quite strict in terms, I don't expect all the judge to taste every 2,300 spirits in 3 days. This is certainly not the way it goes. 30 samples per day per person maximum. More than that, and your nose becomes a little bit flattened, and you start losing a little bit of sensitivity. And yeah, and we try to have the best possible environment for tasting spirit. Big room, air-conditioned room, no intrusive smells, no excessive perfume. All of this we try to control on. We do actually, one of the few, and this is something that we found out in the wine, that a lot of people were putting expensive vintages into cheap everyday supermarket bottle, bring it into a competition, and then obviously get a medal for that particular product, when in fact what was tasted was not what was in the bottle. So in order to, and it's unfortunate that this happened, but we also do selected random tests on our medal winners, alongside with the laboratory in Gensac, to make sure that what has been tasted is actually what is in the bottle. Because unfortunately we've learned the hard way that it is not always the case. There's been also a few cases with some very old, not very old, but with some whiskies that have not been, just not exactly been correct. And this again is one of we're the only one to do this, I think.
Okay, sounds very interesting. Simon, you are also table chairman at the Spirit Selection. How would you describe the international jury panels?
Yes, as just mentioned recently, I would describe them as very, very professional. So there are experts from all over the world. I still can remember my first time participating at Spirit Selection. Mauricio, the guy who appeared just recently here in the video, he introduced me into this competition, and was so professional from the very first beginning. And he supported me. I support other guys. I'm very grown up in the spirits competition right now, and we all show, or we all bring our strength into this competition, and this is what fascinates me so strong, because this is a very professional atmosphere there.
Your microphone, Klaus.
So we also will welcome some guests. We have some judges. They are joining us here in the Teams meeting, because it should be a YouTube live stream, but we get big trouble with connections. So welcome our guests. Let's talk about the benefits. Why could be interesting to take part on a spirit selection? Ulrich, which kind of support benefit do you offer to the winners?
As I said at the beginning, primarily we are a communication media company. So all of Grand Gold and Gold Medal winners, we try to do a write-up on and promote this, and send this article to various publishing companies in Europe. So this is point number one. We also have our own magazine, Vino.be in Belgium, in which we do frequent article on gold winners and Grand Gold winners, and also on the bio revelation. We realize that it's not enough for brands. They want more. So we're working slightly different approaches. For example, we will have normally at the end of 2025 we will have 3 wine bars across the globe. The first one being we opened 2 or 3 years ago in Mexico City, where it is only gold medal product from the spirit selection. Whether or not you distribute it in Mexico, it's not a problem. We will ship that to the wine bar in Mexico. So as a gold medal winner, and say, you know what, I would really like to have my product tasted in Mexico. Well, we have a wine bar in Mexico City that you can make your product available there. I cannot divulge the other 2 destinations, but we're looking at to open 2 more, as I said, within 2 years. Obviously, with my background as on trade, it's something that excites me enormously. We have set up a Concours Mondial de Bruxelles lounge in Mexico Airport. You have to know that the Mexico selection by Concours Mondial de Bruxelles is incredibly successful. And in this CMB lounge, airline lounge, you get to taste the gold medal winner wine. And if you're interested, and if you want to put your spirit forward, you can try. Mea culpa, sorry. You could put we can try to put your spirits into that lounge as well. Again, we will have by the end of 2025 we have 1 in Mexico City at the moment, and we will have 2 new one in major global airports. So this is something that's again, it's completely different. I have the chance to be tasted in an airport lounge. Why not? So that's point number 2. Point number 3 in my pet project, education. We're developing an outreach program with the various bartenders association across Europe and with the various training bodies across Europe to be able to say, look, we can train. And we can train you guys on, train quota. We can certainly make you taste what is, the medal winners from cachaça, Mauricio, to whiskey, or to German whiskey, for example, to yet again Singani or Baijiu. So people who haven't been exposed to this, but who work in the bar industry, for example, will get for once the possibility to taste everything that has been medaled by the spirit selection. So this entree, this what I would call the gatekeeper push, is a project that we're putting in place at the moment. So we really are trying to give a gold medal winner or grand gold tools that they can that they can use to reach new potential consumers. So it's not, for us, it's not just about getting a gold medal, because you can get that relatively easy everywhere. For us, it's once you become a gold medal, for us, there is a whole support package that we can have for you guys. It's we're working on it. Some of the most basic, more basic support is Wine Paris in Provine in China. Apologies, I forgot the name of I think it's the Cial in China. We have big stands of Concours Mondial de Bruxelles. So instead, as a as a gold medal, I'd love to go in France, but I can't afford to have a stand at the Vin Expo in Paris, so it's going to cost me too much, whatever. You have the opportunity to actually get a spot on the Concours Mondial stand. Obviously, the Concours Mondial de Bruxelles stand gathers and attracts a lot of footwork. And another thing that we're trying to work is as well, try to find route to market for people who are who have won medals. It's kind of being part of a big brotherhood, if you want.
Okay, sounds very interesting. There's a lot of support which helps the brand owners or producers to get more success and benefits from taking part on a competition. Simon, I guess besides the benefits Ulrich described, there are some more positive effects. What are the benefits and how do we say things in a spirit competition from a marketing perspective?
Well, first, I would like to enhance Ulrich's argument about the media awareness. So he mentioned the media awareness what spirit selection does for the producers. But actually, in my opinion, producers could use their media awareness by themselves. So, for example, producers can communicate with press releases about the results. So results like best distilleries, best product is always very interesting for a local press. So great media partnerships are very useful, and all the reporters are very thankful for good stories. And if a local newspaper reports about the win of the medals, this can increase the awareness of the distillery, definitely. And the more consumers, the more consumer awareness affects in a higher demand of the products, and this definitely leads to higher sales. So again, one good example for this for using this media awareness is Andreas and his team at St. Kilian. They're using this quite often.
Yes, absolutely. So for us, of course, the marketing effects are very important, especially if you're a young distillery, and if you're a distillery coming from a country that's not so far not famous for whiskey. So we can use those medals, we can use those feedback also to, as you said, get a spot in the press, but also to convince others of our products. And also for us, it's very important to get also some feedback because sometimes we are in kind of a bubble. We try the products, we like the products, but then on the other side, also the customers need to like the products, and therefore it's very important to rely on several pillars of feedback. And for us, the awards is a very, very important feedback, especially if we then get a written feedback or if we get some tasting notes back, we know exactly what the judges did think. Another pillar, for example, are trade shows and whiskey fairs, because then we get really direct feedback from the customer or tastings. But within this, all those pillars that we then, which will influence later on the products we will develop in the future, the medals and the feedback from the medals are very, very important. And as we said before, for us, it's also very interesting if we then see the feedback clustered by country or by region, so we can see also, okay, in which region is maybe a peated whiskey more appealing to the people than an unpeated whiskey. And so we can also draw our conclusions and adjust the production a bit towards more peated whiskey, less peated whiskey, something in the middle. This is extremely helpful for us.
This is something I have to say. I'm really, really excited to reveal this year is the new tasting feedbacks that we're gonna provide. I'm really, really excited about it.
I mean, I have it here. Last year in the spirit selection, our Judas Priest Ram It Down, the limited edition, won the gold medal, and that's also then something from this year onward. What we will receive a completely flavor map for our product. So that's also something you can use, something you can show the customer, you can show your fans during tastings, during events at whiskey fairs, or just on the website. So people really see, okay, how does the whiskey taste like? And it's incredible feedback.
I think, Andreas, you're lucky enough that you had a sneaky preview. I don't think anybody else has seen any of that.
But it's very nice, absolutely. I like it very much.
It's not only nice, it's also very helpful. So it seems like we get a lot of benefits and support from the competition. It's very interesting. Ulrich, how do you handle when a producer who take part with his products doesn't get any medals?
It don't happen. There's 80% of them who don't. So, look, it's, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. The sad reality is that this competition, there is an element of luck. There is, are you going to fall onto a particular stringent jury? Are you going to fall at the very, very beginning of the tasting? Are you going to fall at the very last part of the tasting? We have done over the past, I cannot tell you exactly how many years, but it's an ongoing project. we've mapped out the scoring ability, sorry, the scoring hardness, so to speak, that happens in the competition. And generally, people are a lot more lax at the beginning. So when it's the first couple of days, or the first couple of flights, you are very, very generous with the point. And the more your tasting buds get aware or maybe knocked out, whatever, the grading gets very, 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 very stringent. So we have statistical analysis that sort of try to leverage out these differences, to try to get away from that, luck, the luck of the draw, so to speak. It is my fundamental belief that there are, from the moment you take you make the effort to bring your spirit into the competition, it is a good spirit anyway. So, people who don't get it, I'd be tempted to say, well, try again. It'll be a slightly different jury next year. Why didn't you get it? Can I see the tasting feedback? Like, well, this is in general what would the feedback we have received. Could it be that the product was faulty? We do have 2 bottles. So as I said, one that's usually used for the analysis, but if there seems that there is a problem and one, say, I'm sorry, but the tasting feedback that I received is not at all what my product is like, we will then in our office, with another tasting panel. I cannot tell you the name, but there's 5 people who would come in, and we will sit down and say, did we make a mistake? Or was there a mistake, or was the product faulty? Can we bring the second bottle? So, we try to make sure that, there's the jury, there is no mistake, and we will retaste whenever necessary. But, sometimes there are competition where there are events where the competition is particularly strong. And there are events where, there's less medals. So there is an element of, try again next year. Give us another chance, so to speak. We will have a system as well for reinscription. You will get a discount. So if you put your product into this year's edition, and if you want to put it again in next year's edition, you will get an automatic discount anyway, in order to encourage you to carry on bringing your product into the competition.
Yeah. Very helpful information. I think it's, of course, they are beating 2 hearts in the breast of the people. Of course, they want to get a medal, but also they want to feel that the medal has something important, so that people are looking for that. And if everybody gets a medal, we can't get both points in one. Andreas, and how do you handle this if you don't get a medal as a producer?
Well, yes, sometimes it happens that we don't get the medal as a producer. It also depends. Of course, we will then have a look into it, see, okay, who else in the competition got a medal, and how do we rank ourselves within that competition and within all the other whiskies that have been, or liquors that have been submitted. But on the other hand, yeah, as Ulrich also said, it's in some competitions and some award competitions very hard also to get a medal to be in the top 20%. But that's also what we aim for all the time. So obviously, if we send something in, we are aiming for the gold medal. But then again, we will also have a look at the product, but we also rely a lot on the feedback from our fans, from our customers. And it doesn't mean that if a product does not get a gold medal, it's a bad product. It means maybe, okay, it didn't hit the taste of the panel, but sometimes the fans absolutely love it, the customers absolutely love it. So that's also very important for us. And then we have a try in the next year, but maybe maybe, as you said, it was tasted in the beginning or in the end or in a particular competitive flight. So we hand it in the next year again and see how our results are.
Yeah, so it's also a little bit training to get a training feedback from professional people to see where is more space to lift up the quality of the products.
Yeah.
Another benefit could be that distributors, importers maybe find your products. Solveig, you are a distributor and you also import spirits to Germany. How are your thoughts about spirit selection? Does competition help you to find new products and suppliers?
Of course, it can support to find new products and supplier. As I said at the beginning, if you look for a certain product, you want to know if this product is already settled in the market, if it's successful or not, if they have also the criterion, if the producer is willing to invest in marketing, to invest in those awards, that the product gets more well known. And yeah, this is, I think it's helpful. It's
okay.
It's not the only criteria. Yeah, it's not the only criteria. I have different point of views, but it can be helpful. Yes.
Yeah, I think winning awards, products, at the minimum, they're interesting. Yeah, and so I think the competition results can give an idea which product should be interesting.
Yes, I mean, as a rum specialist, if I tell you, I'm 14 years now with my company, and when I started with my products, with my brands, with my producer in corporation, at that time there haven't been so many medals. Yeah, it was the start of export, especially from Mauritius, and they rarely started to register at the awards. So it's a process. It's a combination, an exchange between producer and distributor and importer. And someone mentioned the area, because in my area might be the taste different as in the US or in wherever, in other continents. The taste is different. This is a fact. So that's why we are working very closely. And they ask me, Solveig, what do you think? What could be, what's your suggestion in your market? So we know our market well, we know the taste of our clients, and this feedback we can give to the producer.
Yeah, thank you.
If I can jump in a little bit, because there's, I mean, I know that when I was putting my brands into other competition, you know, you kind of expect, say, okay, I got a medal, that's it, and people expect all of a sudden, you know, oh, I've got a medal. It's, you know, we as a competition, we can give you feedback, we can award a product a medal, we can give, you know, as I said, we can give you feedback on that product, but in order to maximize the impact of a medal, you know, this is a work that cannot be expected from from us to do. This is something that has to be done hand in hand. And I know quite a lot of people expect, you know, they've got a medal, they expect their sales to go 20% up without actually communicating, without knowing what to do with the medal. One thing that once you got an award, it's a good reason to communicate to your partner. It's a good reason to publish something. It's a good reason to say, hey, by the way, look at us. I mean, you will agree with that, Simon. You know, it's that communication that comes with this, and there are several ways to use this medal for your benefits. But do something with it. It's a shame when I see producers who get medal and don't actually do anything with it, and they kind of said, yeah, I had a medal, that's it. You know, then this, you know, I'd be tempted to say, then don't take part in events like this. The medal is a tool for the producer to actually use. I mean, we certainly can help you using that tool afterwards, but having a medal on its own, you know, is not enough.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Simon, you mentioned already the marketing benefits for producers. What's in for the consumer?
Well, I think it's a benefit for the consumer, but it's also a benefit for the producer. It's the differentiation at the shelf. So, for example, last week a friend of mine visited me, and he bought a bottle of spirits, and he presented it to me. He said, "Hey, Simon, I know you're the expert, but I'm not the expert at all. I don't have any idea which if this is a good spirit or a bad spirit. I don't know the brand, and all the bottles look more or less the same." And he said, "Yeah, I stood in front of the shelf in the supermarket, and I didn't get the difference. So I just found a bottle, a gold medal on the bottle, and I bought this because this one gave me some guidance. This one gave me ensured that there has to be quality in it, and therefore he bought this bottle and he presented it to me. So consumers are always familiar with medals, so they know it from everywhere, from competitions, from school competitions, from Olympic Games, from tournaments. And a gold medal increases or indicates that it really is the best of the best. And the consumers only want to drink the best, and therefore the medalists from spirits competitions give a good guidance. So this is one aspect I would like to point out. Another aspect I would like to point out is the brand trust. So if a distillery gets many medals in competitions, they receive more and more prestige with their products. And I know many distilleries that have their own Hall of Fame in their visitor centers where they show all their gold medals that they won. And when the consumer sees these medals, when they visit the distillery, this increases the brand trust and the quality in the products. And in best case, the consumer is so much convinced of the products that he will be a brand enthusiast. And and they spread the word about the quality and about the products among their friends. And this has a very big effect. So probably you see that Andreas talked a lot about his consumers and about his fans. So actually, this is the effect that can happen here. And besides that, I would like to point out the a third point here, which is important for me as well. It's a good point for the producer, because in Germany there was a study, and the results of that study showed that the consumers are willing to pay around 10% more in price if a product has a medal on it or than it doesn't. And of course, you as a producer, you have to be aware that you can't increase your price dramatically. But if you know that, you can increase your price slightly. Again, one story here. One of my clients told me that one of his customers bought all the bottles that were in the shelf in one time after he has heard that his favorite gin won this gold medal, because he was a bit afraid of getting this price increase. This actually did not happen, but instead of this, the sales increased, and my client, the distillery, they increased the sales of this product.
Yeah, very interesting. So there are a lot of benefits. Andreas,
yeah.
How do you see any additional marketing benefits?
Yeah, well, actually, what Simon said is absolutely correct. It gives a bit of trustworthiness, and when he said some distilleries and some producers, they do have all the medals somewhere in the distillery. It's the same for us. So when you enter our distillery or when you enter the visitor center, you see all the medals, and this makes always a very good impression on the people, because they see it as, look, they've participated in a lot of competitions all around the world, and they've received a lot of gold medals in our, just see it in the chat here, the Hall of Fame, and you see all the gold medals there. You also get an impression and see, okay, this distillery wants to have their products out there. They want to see the challenge of an award competition, and they've won it. So I always think that's very trustworthy. It gives a lot of trust into the brand, into the product, and also from a distiller side, if you hand in your product, I mean, you're not doing it just for fun. If you hand in your product, you have a certain expectation of your product, you have a certain level of your product. You would not hand in a product where you're not proud of. You're always handing in products where you think, okay, this has absolutely the ability to win a gold medal. So I think that's medals are absolutely great. Of course, on the other side, sometimes you hear people, oh, if a company has a lot of gold medals, I'm a bit suspicious. But I always think if we look at the Olympic Games now in Paris, if someone has won a gold medal in a certain field, and he has the chance of winning 3 other gold medals, he's not going to sit in a Parisian bistro and enjoying a pastis and saying, okay, I'm not going to compete anymore because I have my gold medal. No, he's going to compete because he wants a second, he wants a third, he wants a 5th gold medal. He wants to be at the top of the ranking. And a nation who's at the top of the ranking says not after a few gold medals, oh, that's enough for us, we're traveling home. No, they keep on competing. And I think that's also the same for distilleries and for wineries, that you always want to compete also yourself with all the others and see that you're ahead of them and see that you can develop your product in the direction that you have a great tasting product.
Yeah,
there's another interesting way that we found out. There's a small producer who likes to send his products to quite a lot of competition, and because he has a problem in parallel trading, what he does is he puts the sticker of a particular medal for a particular market. So whenever there's a problem of parallel trading, he is absolutely capable of saying, "Ooh, this one has got a Concours Mondial de Bruxelles gold medal. So this was sold to this particular country. What is it doing in that country?" So he's been able to track down where the parallel trading was coming from based on the which medal he was putting on the bottle, whether it was the grand gold that he had received, the silver that he had received, or not. I thought that was quite a clever use of a medal, something that we is thinking outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah, I think this tells us taking part on a competition offers us a lot of possibilities for success and making content in social media or wherever. So that's very interesting, and I think we are coming to an end. I am very hopefully that when you see this video, you learn a little bit more about competition and makes you hungry to take part on a competition. If you want to see the dates when we get the last entry for taking part, you can go to the homepage of the Spirit Selection. You can see the link later on in this video. And yeah, I would say thank you to all the colleagues which told us a little bit about the competitions, and it was a very funny and interesting talk. So very thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.